Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Stay strong.
Oh my God.
That's Kyle. Stay strong. Record.
We're giving each other pep talks to finish this fucking podcast.
You guys, welcome to the Jackie and Laurie Show. I'm Jackie Cation.
I'm Laurie Cation.
We haven't done that in ages.
Oh, I
we have
know.
a Patreon, you guys.
Oh yeah, thank you to our Patreons. We really
not?
appreciate it. We're so far putting the money back into the show. In
Yeah,
terms
so
of the
far we're
podcast
totally
stuff.
just putting the money back. We
Yeah.
bought new stickers. We paid someone to work on the website. We paid. We are.
We're gonna pay someone to do some other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Also, we're just front loading. This is like
this is the last one.
Yeah, before you go to Hanoi, but this is October. This is,
No, November 5th. This one.
I know, but I mean we're
Yeah.
doing this like 3 weeks in advance, so obviously we're gonna miss the next Louis pop in or what.
Right.
Something
Whatever
horrible's
some
going to
new
happen in
drama.
comedy.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna
Some
miss
new
it.
crazy ass drama will happen where it's revealed that Santa Claus is some sort of monster or something, and you're like, who knew he was a comic?
Can you imagine if we did not have a podcast to tape during the whole Kavanaugh thing?
Well, here's
what
what,
if we'd
I'm
have just
psyched
missed
about
all of
is
that?
I'm psyched that we didn't do a taping during the hearings. Like, remember when we tried to do one of these the night of the election?
Oh yeah,
That was terrifying. It was the whole
Devastating.
thing. I didn't even want to air it, quite
Yeah.
honestly. And
she's right back into texting.
I'm right back into texting because I want to find this. You know, I have a story to tell.
You promised me some stories that would eat up an hour.
Leah Bonema.
Yeah,
Okay, she's been a comic of the week.
very funny.
Very funny. She's opening for me at the Hamptons gig
Cool.
in February. So I email her and I was like, I know we've met. I just I remember your act. I just watched it on YouTube, and I was just wondering if you would open for me at the Hamptons. And she said, we not only met,
I love it.
we talked at some length about our mutual love of romance novels outside of a comedy club in New York. And I was like, oh my God, I remember that conversation. And I remember her act. I just don't remember her head.
Oh my God.
Talking at me out of her face hole. But Leah Bonema is really funny.
Yeah.
We have a lot in common, you guys. And we're going to be doing that Hamptons, a gig in the Hamptons in February. It's February 21st, the week after Valentine's Day.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It'll be really fun. And so it did make me laugh. And so that story about how I did not remember her.
Wait, was this the story you promised was going to take 20 minutes and it's already
did not
done?
promise anything was going to take 20 minutes.
God.
Did you want me to try for
Because on the last podcast, you're like, I got 2 stories. Should
No.
I start them now or should I wait?
it leads into this other 12-second story. It's
Oh, all
another amazing clock eater. When it finally came out, I was sitting next to Bamford, and Marie goes, "Oh, it's comparable." She said, and she said that I could tell this story. She said, when she first met Dana Gould, he really liked her stand-up, and he got her into the Holy City Zoo.
My God, why would anyone do that to another comic?
Well, it was actually very helpful, and she was very grateful. And he did not recognize her the next time he saw her.
Okay.
And she said, and she completely understood it, but it was a sign, first of all, of how many people that Dana Gould helps.
Oh,
And
right.
he recognized her after she went up.
Oh, okay.
He was like, "Oh, I remember."
Yeah. I do
So,
that too.
Yeah, you recognize people's comedy.
Yes,
And so that was that story.
Do you think we learn to be more vocal, like we recognize voices more than faces at some point? Because
I think
that's
it's
what
content.
we pay attention to when we're watching somebody.
I think it's more topics and stuff. Like I remember punchlines and I remember setups and I remember premises more than anything.
Somebody, okay, she tweeted about it vaguely and alluded to it, but a TV show did somebody's act. A friend of ours.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Well, I'll write it down.
Please do.
Because and the thing is, you don't win by calling someone out, unfortunately.
Right. It's just oh shit.
Yeah.
That
well,
sucks.
you know what happened to me? Okay, so I have this chunk that I was working on, like after the Kobe Bryant trial. I started talking a lot about rape.
Okay.
Based on based on discussions I had with Patrice O'Neil that were enraging.
Okay.
So one thing, and then it's on my CD, and I sometimes still do it if I need the time, is about wouldn't it be cool if women could rape men back? And it's a long.
Wow, that's a hell of a premise. Like
2 minutes long, maybe.
Okay.
And there's a phrase in it that I have the victim, the dude, yell, "Lady Rapist," and people would say it to me, like comics would, you know, mimic it back to me after I started working it, like 2004, 2005, 2006, and then I'm watching 30 Rock, and Jenna, the character Jenna, says "Lady Rapist," and I was like, oh, I mean could be.
It could be parallel.
It wasn't a common kind of phrasing back then.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I was like, can I not do my joke now?
Right.
You know, but I was like, fuck that.
I've heard some of my, I tend to make up words I mean, we all do, right? And I've seen them in some sitcoms, but I've had to just go, there's, especially living here.
Yeah.
Doing showcase sets all the time, and there's some goofy writer sitting in some other comic who's also a writer,
a thief. They're called thieves.
Oh, is that the technical term?
Yeah.
You are correct. It's because they have to know better. It's not like you just slipped and did somebody's act.
You got desperate. And the other thing is Louis. When
Anderson?
No.
I'm kidding.
And I don't even know. And maybe I'm being paranoid, or maybe I'm just overthinking. But also, you know, that joke was about a woman raping men.
Yep.
So when he does that episode where a woman rapes him, did you ever watch that one?
Nope.
Okay. The woman's character was named Laurie.
Okay.
Spelled my way. I checked in the credits.
Weird.
Yeah, that is a little weird. It's not like a common name, the first name you'd pick, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know either. You know, I read for a part in his show.
Did you read to be a rapist?
I read to be a fat girl.
Oh. Was it that
waitress.
kind of historic part where he goes out on a date with a heavy gal?
Possibly. The part was actually, I think it got an Emmy.
Oh, yeah, it was
episode.
that part then.
Yeah.
Who did that? The person who did it was really good.
An actress did it. She fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Because I did watch that episode.
Yeah.
Because I read, and it was super powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, say whatever you want. Bill Cosby's really funny. No, say whatever you want. Louis C.K. He writes from a very, inside of the joke, right?
That's why his betrayal is so shocking.
And hurtful.
Dude, I fucking know you know it's wrong. What are you doing?
Right. Ugh. Right. And write the fucking bit. Anyway, so we've talked about it on
But okay.
But yeah.
That's the other thing, Hillary Clinton. Now, this is October 14th.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So she comes out and she says that Bill should not have resigned because...
unsolicited, she came out? Mm-hmm. She didn't just unsolicit.
She was being interviewed.
Yeah. Someone asked her, don't you think?
Oh, right. And also that Monica was an adult, so there wasn't an abuse of power. Now her husband's 49 and the president. She's 22 and an intern. And it's yeah, there was an abuse of power. And how the fuck can you not see that?
Right.
Are you
anyone
so blinded by your marriage that you can't see it when it's happening in your home, but you can see it when everyone else does it? I don't understand that. She's smart. She fucking knows that's not right.
Right. Well, 20 years later, I also want to know, what has anyone asked? And you have to know, and I'm sure this is an easy guess for people. I didn't follow it real close. It didn't, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't surprised that he abused his power to get blowjobs. And the fact that anyone was surprised makes me think they're cute. So at the time, now I know that it's a pattern. Like, you know how like we were all raised to think we were nuts.
What do you mean?
That women, you were like, oh, you're paranoid. You're overreacting.
Right.
You're kind of nuts.
Yeah.
If you think that this is
gaslighting.
happening all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I remember thinking, oh, I'm probably being nuts. I'm probably overreacting. So don't overreact is what I remember telling myself about the blowjob.
Yeah.
But I would like to know what Monica Lewinsky has said about it. That she was coerced?
I don't know that she's commented that far on it. I think she has been talking about the bullying afterwards, and
Yeah, well, the repercussions of it were all
somebody
hers.
tweeted, the only person I want to hear about this is Monica Lewinsky. Don't want to
I
hear from
agree.
Hillary. Don't want to hear from Bill.
I don't.
Did you listen to Slow Burn
No.
season 2? They do the Clinton impeachment. It's fascinating.
Okay.
And the last episode is an interview with Juanita Broderick. You know who she is? Okay, so she accused him of raping her. Basically, let's meet. Oh, let's go to the hotel room and meet. And then he pushes her on the bed and has sex with her, rapes her, and then did it again. He goes, "I'm going to do it one more time." And the way she remembered that, I was like, "That's a weird thing. Like, that's a thing that happened because of the way she remembers it."
Yeah.
Like, he said something like, "I'm going to go again," or something like that, where
Yeah.
you're like, you wouldn't make that up because it's strange and it's something
weird and we're gonna believe her anyway at this point, just because who's lying about this shit? There's so
Well, a lot of people didn't believe her, and when she came out, she started being used by both sides. And Ken Starr ended up not being interested in her story because his focus was very narrow. He's trying to find out. I think at this point about Lewinsky only, but it didn't involve rape. So it's like, we're not interested. That's not my mandate.
Maybe it was something about
So she goes and tells this entire story, and Republicans aren't interested and Democrats are horrified, and everyone's like, "Ooh, get away." And then the people that do become interested are like conservative bottom feeders. And so she becomes, she recants, and then, but you're going to do that if all of a sudden your life is destroyed. You just want to go, get this all away from me.
Right.
You guys all fucked me over. Never mind. Exactly.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So now she's not unrecanted. But to me, every reaction she's had seems totally credible to the way people respond to these allegations,
Yeah.
Especially if you're, Christine Blasey Ford's a fucking doctor and she understands psychology the way she could explain her own reactions. It's like she actually got a PhD to be able to explain herself.
Right.
Juanita Broderick isn't that on that level intellectually, So
what does she do?
I don't know
What her work was? Okay.
I don't know. But she was a Clinton volunteer. That's how they met. Anyway, it's credible.
Yeah.
And the dude, he did something shitty.
Right.
At least
But
one time, if not more.
The thing is so they ask someone why they stay with their spouse when they know that they're a piece of shit is abuse of another kind.
Right.
You're just like, I understand the excuse that they could have is like, well, this decision was made. How could she decide how to do anything right? Well, I don't know, 11,000 years of people being with jackasses. How about that? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I've known enough people that have been in terrible relationships that have stayed in them. Mm-hmm. And if you ask them, why are you staying? Like, I had a friend who used people, probably still does. We are no longer friends because it was exhausting. And she would use people and, quite honestly, and throw them away. And men would stay with her. And those guys would come to me and talk about how great she was, but she was driving them nuts. Mm-hmm. And
are you secretly talking about me right now?
I am secretly talking about the series of men that you have strewn around Burbank. And I don't know. I mean, it's what every conversation I ever had with one of her boyfriends or husbands was essentially me going, yeah, you gotta call it. You got to wrap it up. She isn't good for any of us. I don't know why any of us are hanging out with her. And yet we all did for a long time. And it was, I don't know what Hillary Clinton should have done. I know what she did do, which is she just kept going. Like, she just did her job.
Right.
And she stayed in her relationship because she also came from a time when you did not divorce. You're like politically.
Right.
Ronald Reagan was divorced and remarried, but had been remarried for 25 years.
Right.
So as a game, in game mechanic terms, to divorce Bill Clinton felt like you were breaking the game. Mm-hmm. Like, it was better to just stick it out and try to get things done the way you're getting things done. And I don't know anything about their personal relationship, and for the love of God, if you do, don't tell me, because I can't know. But I do wish that the only person I do want to hear from is Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah,
because if she felt forced, then I think that I don't
think it's forced. I think it's
coerced.
When you're 22. And the guy's 49 and he's the president of the United States, that just shouldn't be happening. And I know she's technically an adult, but that he should have known way better, because you can't expect a lot of 22-year-olds to know better.
Well, I think that we know here that his was the abuse of power.
Right.
And his was the inappropriate activity. And in the case of that other woman, clearly criminal activity.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, but asking Hillary about it is weird.
Yeah.
It feels like bait.
I think, yeah,
it feels
of course
like baiting.
It was,
yeah.
But it was also like in light of the Me Too movement and, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know the whole Me Too. Did you hear the hymn too?
Yeah, that was great. I'm exhausted by how complicated it all is, though. Right,
because it shouldn't be this complicated. We just want to be people.
Yeah, and the people coming back, Matt Lauer, are they coming back? And why, can we just stop worrying about them? Like, they've got enough money. Can we just...
They can start a podcast. Have they ever thought about starting a podcast?
Oh my God! Of all, like, Matt Lauer, Charlie Rose, and Louie, a podcast together.
Oh my God! I have this to say. I have a. What else happened? Oh, that there's a new Comedy Central show from a Comedy Cellar stand-up show.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I assume it's going to be stand-up
topical
comedy.
Stuff, right? I thought it was more. The emphasis is more on topical material.
Oh, interesting.
Which should be good, because then you don't
you don't burn anything.
You could burn it. It's no big deal, because it's going to be burnt anyway.
Yeah. Well, that was the one bit of industry news that I have. You guys got anything? I don't know.
Oh God.
How about this? I'm looking into getting new headshots, and it doesn't matter. I was telling Maria, if you get new headshots, she said that one of the clubs asked her for new headshots, and then used she said, and then they used the old hot lady headshots, and then I showed up, and they're like, "Who is that?" He said, just use that if you're going to use that. Why do I have to get new headshots? So you're like, oh, we don't like how she looks anymore. Let's use the old headshot.
It's fun to track your face as you get older.
Right. As you get funnier.
Like, yeah, right.
Boom.
Nose gets longer.
Right. My nose seems to have grown. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I had essentially, it was like a stress dream, but it was a heckler dream. And this is how much time I've spent with Maria Bamford lately, is that I told her my dream. I'm so sorry. Nobody wants to hear your fucking dream. And now I'm going to tell you two my dream.
Oh, my God.
Well, we got time. What time is it?
We are 20 minutes in.
Oh, my God.
20? That seems early. Anyway, so I had a stress dream about that. For some reason, I was on CNN talking to some right-wing nutbag.
Yeah.
And I just started treating him like a heckler. And I drove him nuts. You know how, like, when you are actually working with a heckler and you're trying to get them to leave?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. And in the dream, he pulled out a gun. And I literally said in the dream, I wonder if this will get me booked on Helium. At Helium.
Am I in a dream right now?
No, you're in a nightmare.
Okay.
This is a nightmare that will not end. A 40-minute
I have wondered,
nightmare.
though, how would, like, if you look at Tucker Carlson, you ever watch
I didn't get
Tucker
the right
Carlson?
response from you from this Helium crack. Anyway, go ahead.
Kyle laughed.
I'm taking it home with me.
Tucker Carlson, he'll do a split screen interview. So you're not, like, at a table with him, you know? And I think he would be tough to best on his show because he's figured out how to fuck people over.
Oh, on his show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were a guest on a show, like, I think a lot of comics would be like, no, I got this. I can take this guy down. But it's like, no, you're in his house. You're not at a comedy club.
Right.
And he's going to start flipping things around, and you're not in the same room with him. You're staring into a camera and you can't see him. Because I think although this wasn't the case, they weren't on a split screen, but when Michael Avenatti was on the show with him, they just Chironed it as creepy porn lawyer. I haven't had it with Avenatti, by the way.
Oh, he is breaking his own. I mean, the thing is he was great and he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But if he wants to go into this next level, he has to start over a little bit. And it's like when a comic moves here from Indianapolis and it's like, I'm a big fucking deal in Indianapolis. You guys won't put me on all your coolest shows?
Right.
No, they won't. You have to reinvent the wheel a little bit. You just have to prove yourself in a new room. And Avenatti refuses to do it. You know, you're just like, you don't know what Robert's rules are. You don't know, he knows how to.
Robert's rules?
Yeah, I always picture all these committees and all this meetings.
Oh, I see.
It's just a pain in the ass. But I mean, he's essentially it would be like Donald Trump, where
I don't want any more. I'm tired of drama. I'm tired of having to check Twitter every day to see what the president said, and I don't want another person who's going to act like that.
Yeah,
please, just fucking pass legislation and be fucking effective.
Why don't you appoint all of the ambassadors? How about that? Why don't you do any number of things that are not being like? There's like 300 positions, like real positions in the government, that are empty.
Do you know what's weird? It's. Do you feel like since we've been following like politicians and journalists, I feel very connected to a lot of journalists now. You know, like I read a lot of their stuff and I think, oh, maybe I would have been a journalist had I just gone a different way, you know?
Yeah.
And now this guy's like kidnapped and dismembered and...
Oh, right. The guy in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Saudi guy, Khashoggi.
Yep. And
I'm just saying, you know... I could have been kidnapped and dismembered, guys, but instead I chose comedy.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
Are you going to get into the helium rooms? So
you have to let that go.
I know.
Well, you don't have to let it go.
I don't have to let it go. I'll let it go when you let go of Letterman.
What an asshole! Just a roundhouse kick out of it.
Well, from just defending myself entirely. How about this? Headliner comes into the green room.
When's this?
some gig I just did with Bamford probably a week or two ago, and but he's we're in one of the smaller towns, and he it wasn't Buffalo Helium, whatever, but but he just comes in to say hi, but literally just holds forth, like he doesn't ask about, like
He's a local headliner who's not on the show?
he's a national headliner. He lives here
In Los Angeles?
And he literally, I couldn't figure out if he was looking for a set. If he was looking for a set.
He was definitely looking for a set.
Oh, was he?
I think so.
I mean, I know I would have been, but I would have asked.
Yeah.
I would have just said, hey, can I do a set?
Did he want to be asked?
Maybe a girl likes to be asked. I think he wanted to be asked.
Did you do that on this podcast or the last one?
I don't know. It's our second one, you guys. It's so that was, but it was weird because and then he didn't stay for the show.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Wait, so he went to...
He came out to the club specifically to say hi.
Oh, no one comes out to a club to say hi unless they
he
want
wants a set. Right?
Oh my God.
I know it's a lot. And hey, don't worry about it, listeners.
Well,
you wouldn't have known that name. So
you should, though. He's
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good comic. But he's like the rest of us. He just wants a set.
I know.
But here's the thing: got to use your words. You're grown up.
Did I ever tell you about this one?
And if she says no, don't sweat it.
I was at. Oh, okay. I have to hide a lot of details.
Okay.
I'm sure this guy doesn't listen to this podcast. I'll tell you. I'll tell you who it is. But I'm headlining a club.
Yep.
Do you know this guy?
Oh, I know his name. I don't know him.
So I'm headlining a club, and he comes out. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to stop by, say hi." Like, okay, great. And I don't care,
Yeah. Right, live your life.
Yeah, you could.
You're
Hey,
not
we could
close
consider
friends.
this email a hi. You
Yeah.
got to say in fucking person.
Yeah.
So he comes and he's dressed really dressed nicely.
Oh, is
like
he?
in a suit.
Yeah.
And I go, do you want to do a set? I figured that was his comedy outfit.
Right.
He goes, no, I'm just here to watch. And then that's what he did. And then afterwards he was like hanging out, and I thought, oh my God, I think he thinks this is a date.
I think he's hitting on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had to be an asshole and just be like, oh, I'm so tired. I got ready to do, Don't make me be like that.
Well, he brought his A game. You weren't into it. That's fine. He could have just, again, used his words. Though I was thinking about how the onus is on dudes so hard.
Yeah.
That they have to ask, right?
Right.
They're expected to ask people out, and it leads to this power disparity, and it leads to this, but it also leads to like the rejection unless you're trained.
But it's weird. It's like I'm coming to your hometown to do sets. I'm not coming out to date you. I didn't book this week to date you. Like,
sure you did. No, you didn't. Why? Who would ever do that?
Why would someone think, oh, let's make it a date?
Right.
It was just strange.
It is strange, but it's always strange. I mean, we're all such terrible social beings.
That's true.
And like, just think of every dude that's ever just been like, well, I guess we're all just sitting around, make out. And you're like, no. And the weird thing is I've said that to dudes. I'm like, well, aren't we all just sitting around? You guys want to? It's another reason number 3012 to stop drinking.
My Lyft driver in New York was like, when you coming back in town? I'm like, dude. Can I just be friendly? Can I just be friendly
chat?
without us hooking up later on?
Right.
Come on.
Right. I had a couple of very nice Lyft drivers this trip.
It's like you have to be so careful. Like, I'm tired. I thought, hey, I'm 53. I can have a conversation without worried about being
Nobody
hit on
wants
now.
in on this anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, guess what? Sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do.
I'm being friendly because I'm old, okay? And there's no fucking chance this is happening, and you shouldn't be into me.
All right.
God dang.
Oh my God.
Like, when can you be friendly? Can Betty White be friendly without getting hit on?
No. I bet you any number of dudes are like, no, I want to tap that. And I said tap. Okay, so, but it was like, it is, yeah, it's a weird thing that we're all sort of raised to be sexual forever now. You know, I remember back in the 80s, I think it was, there was an old guy. And when I say an old guy, he was probably 40.
Right.
And he said his premise was great. It was this thing about how he couldn't wait to be really old when he didn't have to think with his dick anymore.
Right.
And it was a great. Have you heard that premise?
No.
Other guys talk about it. It was. I wish I could remember the guy because I haven't heard it since. If it's you, if you're out there, I'm so sorry I forgot your name because it was a great premise, and it's 30 years later. You are 70. I hope you're not
that
taking
guy.
Viagra. Yeah. I hope
Maybe
you just.
What if he listens to our podcast and jerks off to it? Even his dream didn't come true.
I don't want to know anyone doing that. I don't want to know. That is between you and your God and your sock pillow or whatever the hell is happening. Yeah. I bought a bunch of books to go to Vietnam with. Yeah. I read 3 of them already. It's very sad.
Jesus, you're a fast reader.
Well, what I like to do is I like to get the gist, and then I have to go back if they're any good. And they weren't that great. It was 2 romance novels. They were okay, but I left them in D.C. And then I accidentally left the John D. MacDonald thriller book that I started, but it isn't good enough for me to buy again. I mean, there's probably 30 of them. I did
that. I left at the Acme Hotel.
Yeah.
I left it's the book about the murders of Osage County. I forget what it's called.
That's nonfiction, right?
Oh, it's really good. Yeah.
I bet.
I talked to them on the phone and I was like, it's going to cost me $6 to get the book back. I'll just buy the book again, but I never did.
Right.
So I don't know how the story turned out. I mean,
a lot of people were murdered. I did,
but it led to the creation of the FBI because they were starting to connect the dots. These Native Americans were they were given this shitty reservation land, and it turns out it was on top of oil. So they became incredibly wealthy, and white people just started murdering them, including one guy married a Native woman and murdered her. And
wow,
it was like a long con.
That is the longest con ever. He's like,
horrible.
I kind of like you, but I want all your money, and I want you to be dead.
Yeah.
When was this? In the 20s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what states?
Oklahoma.
Wow.
And then the murders went to other places, but they for a while they figured it took them a while again, and then I lost the book to figure out this was sort of an organized
and it was connected
thing by a lot of white people.
Yeah. Horrible white people. Every day a new reveal.
Awful.
Yeah. The only book I ever, on a lighter note, the only book I ever left before this book was probably in like 2002. No, it would have been 2003. Great story. I left the Galapagos Kurt Vonnegut book on the subway in New York City.
That's a perfect book to leave on a subway, though.
Well,
you probably made
for someone else.
Night. No,
yes.
But I mean, someone's like that. I bet someone found that and they needed that book exactly that night.
It's true.
When you're riding the subway, you're into space.
Yeah, it's a good place to read a book. I did not buy the book again until like 2012, and I finished it. It was kind of disappointing. I think there was a bit of a lag. I didn't start over. I should have started over. It was 6 years later,
it's like
10 years later.
You start a joke and someone heckles you and you deal with it, and then you try to finish the joke again just to see hey, can this joke handle a 3-minute intermission between setup and punchline? Sometimes it can. If it's a good joke.
Sometimes it can. Sometimes you have to kind of you gotta go back 30 seconds
or just let it go.
Or
you know what? You guys aren't going to hear that one tonight. Sorry.
You don't get it. You're not going to get that joke. Come back tomorrow.
But you did get to see me slam a drunk guy, and I think that's really what you're here for. Why do we even write jokes? All they want us to do is tell drunk people they're dumb shits. That's really what the audience wants from us.
Not the best audiences. The best audiences really want to hear me meander around some weird.
They want one person to be an asshole, and they want to see you crush that person, and they want to witness it and be part of it and cheer when that person is humiliated and has to leave.
The beautiful thing about stand-up comedy is that every audience is different, and there are some audiences that would like you to completely physically moida someone in the audience. I don't know why I used that voice in the end, but it was
I don't know,
fun
but
for
you
me.
committed to it.
I did. I went twice. Yeah, what are we looking at? 34. Let's do the comic of the week.
Yes. Chanel Ali.
Chanel Ali, who is from Philadelphia.
Okay.
Was the video. Here's what happened. I was looking for people to open for me in the Hamptons, and 100 comics. Like, everybody was like...
And you wanted a female.
And I wanted a woman and a comic to open. And the suggestions, her name came up twice. Mm-hmm. And a couple other that will also become Comics of the Week came up twice as well. So I started watching her videos on YouTube, and I was like, oh, yeah, she could totally... I would be honored if she would open for me. I picked Leah because she also got 2 votes.
Yeah.
And then it turns out we're friends, and I didn't know. But Chanel Ali is very funny.
Yeah. So she gets the consolation prize of being
Of
the
Comic of the Week. Go out there, find her. I think she's in New York now. I know she is, actually, because I asked for New York comics.
Yeah.
But she's clearly originally from Philadelphia, because the last video that I watched of hers, weirdly enough, at the Philadelphia Helium, and it was from 2014.
Oh, my God. Enough. How many heliums are there?
He's got 6 clubs. That's 6
6?
weeks.
Holy
5 or 6.
shit.
Yeah, 5 or 6 clubs.
Hey.
That's 5 weeks of work.
The guy that you called to call him out on his behavior, he owns a couple clubs, right? You know who I'm talking about.
No.
This guy. That guy. Remember you got involved in the...
Yeah.
Have you ever worked either of his rooms since you got involved? And you were just roped into that. You. That's annoying.
It is annoying, because the clubs are good.
Yeah.
And
have you tried? Like,
I've sent to Vales.
Yeah. And no response?
No.
That sucks.
Yes. But I may just do what people do, which is just book a small venue. Mm-hmm. And I've been looking into Saturdays.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we have to book some
Toronto?
revenge gigs.
What about Toronto? I got asked to do the Comedy Bar up in Toronto.
Yeah.
And there's a Saturday in there. Would you want to fly to Toronto and do 2 shows on a Saturday? 2 podcasts, 2 stand-up shows.
Oh, my God. Okay, so I'd have to take a red eye out on Friday to Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
Is that possible? Is there
or do you
nonstop?
like the idea of a flight on a Saturday to the West Coast? Is that
That
more
might
of
be a little better.
Does that sound more fun?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll keep my fucking gig in Toronto, and I'll live the life that I'll live, because the Ian Atlas is the guy who books the Comedy Bar, and it's great. It's a great gig.
Yeah,
it's
a
a Thursday,
gig.
Friday, Saturday. It's 5 shows. And he is super supportive and a really good egg.
What
And
night is it?
it would have been a Saturday
What Saturday?
in February, I think.
Oh, yeah, we'll be in production again.
Yeah. But we could also just organize something else, on a hiatus week or something. And but
let's try to pick towns where the clubs won't book us, and hopefully we'll make a lot of money at some little black box theater.
so many choices. There's so many choices for me to just
of towns that won't book us.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's the entire map of the United States is really open to us.
The world is our oyster, Laurie Kilmartin. And I don't know, have you ever worked in New Orleans?
No. Is there a club there?
Nope, but there's venues.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we could go to New
I think
Orleans.
there is this comedy scene in New Orleans, though, right?
There is.
Yeah.
There's a respectable comedy scene there.
There used to not be, but like there's a Funny Bone in Baton Rouge. Did you ever work that one?
No.
Awful. It was in a It was like in a barn, and I think.
Do you know who booked it? It was Miller, Rich Miller.
No, this is before Miller. It might
yeah?
have been maybe I don't know. Was it? Maybe it was Miller. But
He wouldn't book. It was during the 90s, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was Rich Miller.
Yeah, he wouldn't book me. He said that I was too smart for it.
Well,
And I
I
was
was-
like, I will dumb it down.
I was dumb enough for this crowd. But I think the MC was one of those guys that MC'd every week and felt like it was his club and his gig and his audience. And he just did a shitload of local stuff. And like, I don't know what the fuck he was saying with that fucking Cajun accent. Like, I was like, what's happening? Am I in America? Oh my God. It was so bad. And then
Wow.
I remember my only solace during the day was the pool, and the pool sucked.
Oh,
I'm like, why am I here?
it's a bad hood ornament, right? That's what that is.
But I drove out to it, and that was kind of
Okay.
fascinating.
You drove from San Francisco to New Orleans?
I did. I think I had some other gigs along the way,
That's
but there was like a ton of alligator. I just remember a ton of like every company used an alligator to sell their shit. Like the closer you got to Louisiana, gator cell service or whatever it was just like, oh my God, everyone's got an alligator.
Yeah, that's dumb. They didn't have like throw an okra.
And then
I don't know.
I remember being stuck in traffic. It was like this, like a 2-lane highway, you know, and no one was moving. So somehow I was talking to somebody else in another car. Like we were just getting out of our cars.
Yeah.
And the lady said, "There's been a table wreck." And I was like,
Table wreck?
"What?" And she said it 3 more times. And then I realized she said terrible wreck.
Oh my
I
God.
swear to God, she said table wreck. And so I wrote a little thing about it on my website.
Yeah, yeah.
And then my dad sent me I just came across this thing when I was going through some memories in New York. My dad had taken an article out of a newspaper of a wreck, and he wrote table wreck on it and mailed it to me. Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted to. I've never been to Louisiana. I've never been to New Orleans.
Yeah.
I've never been to Baton Rouge.
I've never been to New Orleans.
Here's another place I want to go. Let's just plan some destination comedy. Key West. I did a show in
Oh.
Key West one time for Comedy Central.
Yeah, there's
And,
gigs out there.
Yeah, it was down by where some six-toed cats of Hemingway live. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
it's but it was super down the coast, down the Keys, and it was such. I have such a beautiful memory. Not of the gig. The gig was whatever it was, right? It
The
was in a
nicer the
weird
place,
tent.
the worse the gig's going to be for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, I remember when I used to stay. The shittier the hotel, I was like, oh, the better the cable. Like the TV was always better. It was small solace for having cigarette holes in the everything. But I remember it was such a beautiful. I'm still on their mailing list. Is this weird, like a resorty kind of thing? But it wasn't. It was more like a motel. Remember that weird gig in Phoenix that Howard Hughes used to put you up at the hotel?
I never did it.
Okay, it was one of these, and you could get the massage therapist to come to your room.
Yeah.
And it was Key West, so it was windy and humid instead of just humid. And,
Right.
And so I just remember it was one of the most beautiful days of my life. I would like to recreate that with you. What? I don't know. It was me and Fluffy. It was me and
Gabriel
Iglesias.
Okay, yeah.
And we both flew into the Miami airport. And I think I've told this story on this podcast, but here we go again. And we both took separate limousines.
I have not heard this. I would have had a memory, a neural pathway of intense jealousy. What?
Yeah. So we get there and we get to we're on the same flight. Mm-hmm. We get off. I had just met him. It was in 2003.
Yeah.
We both done our half-hour specials.
Yeah.
And
At this point, you're equals in the business.
To some extent, yes, right?
Yeah.
Bill Burr did his that year as well.
Right.
And we see how it all went for the three of us. And so...
Congratulations to those guys. How did they do it?
How did it work out? Why did it work out the way it did? Anyway, so... So the driver comes up to me and he's like... And I said, oh, the limo guy's here. And Gabriel says... Weirdly enough, Gabriel says, oh, I always get my own limo.
What do you
And I said, wait, we're going to the same...
I always get my own limo?
Yeah, he said, I always get my
In
own limo.
2003?
Yeah.
He was a feature at that point,
I
right?
have no idea. No, he was. But I said, oh my God, you're going to be famous. Because if you have that kind of balls to ask for what you want and need,
Oh my God.
why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So,
That reminds me, I did this. This guy from Chicago opened a club in Phoenix, and I forget what it was called. It was something that was open for like a year.
Phoenix will do that to you. It's
Yeah.
weird.
He came down from Chicago, nice guy, and I think it was the week I was working with Barry Diamond, and I told you he was crazy, but it was also like the show night. It was this, the week started the same night of the Oklahoma City bombings. Fuck. That was the worst show. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like we're
It's like 99.
we're doing a set.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City just got bombed.
Right.
Children are dying. There's like a fucking preschool, and we're doing a show tonight. Are you fucking serious?
Is this Oklahoma City? It is not. We got a room to fill.
Oh my God.
I'm sure
And those
I'm
assholes,
channeling.
people showed up.
Right. Do you know that's another city we could do is Oklahoma City?
Yes.
Because they have a very nice comedy scene there.
Yeah, they caught McVeigh. It's a safe place now.
Well, the first time I went there, where I headlined, the comics there put up shows.
Yeah.
And they took me to the memorial.
Wow.
Super powerful, because the memorial, essentially, there's a chair for every person who died.
Oh my God.
And some of the chairs,
Tiny.
yeah,
When
literally fucking chilling.
Yeah, I was in. I think I told you this before. When I was in Tucson, the day Gabby Giffords was shot, it was a Saturday,
Oh, that's right.
and I was like, "Oh, the shows are canceled, right?" Not only are they not canceled, sold out,
Gary Bynum, he's just like, oh, we're a cash cow.
sold out, and Gary's like, "Don't mention the shooting."
I got taquitos to sell.
Oh my
He is not
God.
wrong. He is. Everyone needed a moment away. Oh my God. I certainly didn't want to perform the week after the election. I did the Comedy Works for the first time. Hopefully, someone else will cancel and I will get booked there again, because I had a lovely time.
Yeah.
I love that Comedy Works. It's such a good club,
Never worked it.
and we could do Denver. We could go into Denver on a Saturday.
Denver's one of the places I'm doing with Conan.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that'll help me get into the Comedy Works.
All right. I think I'm doing Boulder with Maria.
Oh, neat. When?
February.
Oh,
I just
cool.
updated my calendar today because
Sorry,
I
I'm
had
not on it right now.
well, right now. Well, because it was all mixed. Because I come back. This is going to go up the 5th, right?
I guess. Yeah.
I land tomorrow, the 6th,
Right.
or I think I land today, the 5th. Whatever. I have one day home,
You're
and
back.
then I go on the road with Brian Regan.
Oh, how are you going to do? Are you going to do any practice sets?
I have a set in Bangkok.
And so you'll be down for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Comedy wise.
Yeah.
Can you do a set tonight? I mean, not
maybe
now tonight, but when you land.
When this lands, probably. I'd like to.
Yeah,
maybe
you
I could
got
pick
to.
up a 15 or 20.
You got to.
Yeah, because it's just 15 to 20.
I know,
But
you
I'd
just
like
gotta
to
get your
do a
feet wet.
15
You
to
don't want to
20.
be on
Yeah.
stage for the first time in front of a Brian Regan audience, you know?
Yeah, like 7,000 people in Duluth.
Right. No. Okay.
Yeah, it's Duluth,
No matter how tired you are, you have to do a
Minneapolis,
set.
Rochester,
Oh my God.
and then
Wait,
Winnipeg.
you're flying from Hanoi and then you get back here to LA for a day and then you go to the East Coast?
to Duluth, Midwest.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's brutal.
you're not wrong. But I took the gig.
Of course.
I didn't know how to not take the
No,
gig.
dude, of course you take
Well,
the gig.
who am I talking to? You two.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to anyone sane. Everyone's sane.
We're
It's
just
like,
saying
what are
it's
you
gonna
doing?
suck, but yeah, you fucking take the gig, dude.
Brian, if you're listening, it's gonna be amazing.
Do you use bands in town to promote gigs?
Do I use bands?
The bands in town. It's like
It's a website app thing.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I haven't tried.
I think
Is it
some
good?
comics are. I just haven't gotten into it, but
Curious if you need to try it.
yeah.
Okay, and it's called Bands in Town.
Yeah, because I think people that are
It's for bands that tour.
yeah, but people that like are into it, it'll suggest comics that are also in town if you're hooked into it. Like if,
Okay.
if people are
It's
looking
for
for
people
something
who are
to
looking
do
for
that
live
night.
live
Yeah.
things to go see.
So there's no cool bands. Oh, but Jackie Cation's in town or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know.
You know what else you can do is I make little recordings that I haven't done. I have two things I haven't done. I have not used my mailing list in about 2 months.
An email list.
An email list
Okay.
that several people have joined recently. But every time I send out an email list, two things happen. One, some people quit it. And other, I get news from comics that I didn't know were on the list.
Oh man.
Going, you're really working a lot. And
Oh no.
I don't know what it means.
It
but
means who books,
who books
that?
That's true. That's true. It does mean that. But I think everyone knows that you could just ask me. It's not like I'm hiding who books things.
Somebody, I don't know. She used to. She was subscribed to comedy clubs websites to see when they were giving out free tickets. Like who, if someone's are they dumping free tickets to a Saturday show for this comic, and kind of use that as leverage to go, hey, I know this person isn't selling out, and why aren't you booking me or stuff like that.
That's not wrong.
That's not wrong at all.
That sounds like a hell of a.
Doesn't every gig you see, you automatically think, oh, it's great, they're killing, and it's sold out shows, and then you find out that they were desperately trying to get anyone in.
A lot
to
of
the
paper.
late show. Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
selling taquitos and booze. Literally, there was a club outside of Colorado that I used to do called Wits End.
I used to do Wits End.
We've
He's
done
the
all
first
this.
guy that headlined me.
It's a C
John
club.
Cooney.
I never did get to meet him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never met him. I got in on the gig. It was the condo was the worst.
He kind of looked like Whitey Bulger.
Who is that?
He's that Boston mobster that he was just
Is he
caught
blonde?
recently. White hair.
Okay.
Just caught recently in Santa Monica, like the last 3 years. But he was on the run for like 20 years, and he was played by a version of him was played by Jack Nicholson in The Departed. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. No, it's
So Wits End.
yeah. So they were the ones who had the worst food. They had frozen
yeah.
taquitos from Costco.
Yeah.
And they would literally just go to Costco and buy packages of frozen food and then nuke it. And then
How
sell
can you
it to
fuck up
people.
Costco food? Because it's usually pretty good.
And they fucked it up. It
Yeah.
wasn't good. I was just talking to that young artist who did my cover, and she had just been to Japan, and she was talking about how great the food at the 7-Elevens was.
It is good. I had a lot of my meals at the 7-Eleven.
I was telling her that
because
and
I was
she
like,
said,
I am not going
"It's
near
different."
sushi. Yeah, and everything's sushi there.
Right. She said, it's different. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's
the
not bad at
7-Eleven.
all.
And I was like, stop talking to me. And
I went on a dinner, Allison Floral, who used to be the writer's assistant at Conan, had a friend in Japan. She's like, oh, call her up. And I normally would never do that, but I was so lonely by day 3. I
Yeah.
was like, someone speak English to me.
right.
So she, and she's Japanese and American. And
Okay.
so she goes back and forth all the time. And so they took me out to dinner with some other friends of theirs from China. And it was like a communal table, and they just kept bringing stuff out. And one of the entrees was horse meat. And I was like, no, thank you. More rice, please. I like what
try
you guys
it?
do with rice. What?
You didn't try it?
No.
Well, it's already dead.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to eat a horse.
What if it's well prepared?
No.
You know how cute kangaroos are? I'll tell you something. When they stew it, it's really nice.
Oh my God!
I had really good.
They have pouches.
I know, but for some reason I don't want to eat other marsupials. I only want to eat kangaroo.
You know who I saw last night, which will be like 3 weeks from now, was Lana Turner. She was very funny.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her in a while. She had some good stuff, man. She used to be married to Ralphie.
Which I was going to say, she used to be married to Freddie Asparagus. I am 170 years old.
Freddie Asparagus.
Remember Freddie Asparagus?
No.
From the 80s?
No.
He was the Ralphie May of the 80s.
Oh, okay.
And but he was very funny. He was a friend of Kinnison's and Carl LeBeau.
Oh, okay.
And,
well, she had some funny stuff about it. It was, it was pretty good.
She did The Dork Forest.
Oh, what was her?
And her dorkdom, she wanted it to be how much she hated Ralphie May. Because they were recently divorced. And I said, that cannot be your dorkdom, because this is a positive show about things you like, not things you hate. Go on Carmen Morales' show. And so she talked about her favorite cities to travel to in the world. And I can't remember any of them, but it was a delightful... Beverly D'Angelo did something similar.
Okay.
I love people who are like, I like to travel. Let me tell you about Florence. And you're like, please do.
Wow.
And
Kyle, how much time have we done?
We are at 55.
so close.
I'm so
close.
tired.
What do you think that many dramas have happened that we did not get to
We're not touching on it
We're
all.
not. It's almost like it's a peaceful time.
We live in a little bubble.
We
That's
live
right.
in 3 weeks from now, a little bubble, nothing happened. We're living in our current shit show. Nothing. It couldn't possibly get worse.
Yeah, the worst thing that happened was Nikki Haley quit the UN. We're still reeling from that. That's how protected we are.
God,
She's nasty.
just the idea that I would say nothing worse could happen. It's like, it feels like a jinx. My grandmother's rolling over in her grave going, stop it! Stop saying it!
She's not the one to go to. Is that genocide grandma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was...
It could always get worse.
It can always get worse. It's, you know what she used to say? Save for a rainy day, because one day it'll rain. She was not wrong. I love.
Did she really say that?
She did.
Okay.
But in a broken English kind of... she had a lot of... She also used to say, quit yollering at me, which was the greatest word in my life, yell and holler. But what she would do is, her and my dad would speak Armenian, and because he was the only one who spoke it.
Yeah.
And she would essentially needle the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
You're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not doing this. And finally he would yell, Ma, shut up. And then we would all stop talking around her, and we would all look at her, and she would go, he's yollering at me. And he was like, but she was, all right, I'm going to go over here. And there was no getting out of it. And was he that good of a guy?
Who?
We don't know. My dad.
Oh, your dad?
Yeah, he's still alive. But he's.
What if we come back and both our parents are dead?
What if everyone's dead? What if
my
this
God is the last podcast on Earth?
on Earth? They'll find it. It'll be right at the base of the Statue of Liberty.
Somebody.
Charlton Heston will scream, "They did it! The bastards!"
Somebody will have been Me Too'd. I bet you. Somebody shocking.
Someone
Between
shocking?
now and when this thing drops.
We should ask Kira Sultanovich and Karen Rontowski.
Why?
They could predict it.
Kim
Wait,
Masters, when I did Kim Masters' show, she said she was working on something huge and they had to get over at some legal stuff because it involved like prostitutes and stuff like that. Like
Sure.
she's getting threatened by lawyers. I bet that's going to drop. That's got to drop.
All right. Well, you heard it here last. Because they will have lived it. They will have completely lived through whatever's happened. And here's what I wish. I wish just peace and joy.
Have a great trip.
Thanks, I will.
I'm so excited to talk to you.
I know you can follow. There will be limited internet access, so I'm hoping to do some hotel art from around the world in Southeast Asia.
Oh my God, you're gonna have so many stories.
So many stories. Hopefully, some of them comedy related, and then I will exhaustedly do stand-up comedy the night I get home.
Yeah, you got to.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.